Well, I look back on it and I almost think it's a dream.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And liftoff of Discovery with a crew of 6 astronaut heroes and 1 American legend.
I honestly can never imagine that it all happened that way. As far back as I can remember, I wanted to fly. And I'm not sure I knew what flying entailed, but I wanted to fly. It's a small town. We had less than 4,000 people back then, and everyone in town knew me. Couldn't get away with much of anything because obviously they had a direct line to the parents. So it was really a great place to grow up, though.
The Brown family lived on a farm just outside of Elizabethtown, North Carolina. It was apparent early on that Curtis Brown Jr. showed an amazing aptitude for things. When he was 10, his dad gave him a summer project. If he could manage all aspects of planting, growing, and harvesting 10 acres of corn by himself, any profits come fall would be his.
It taught me a lot about having to deal with how to focus on getting a task done. My folks would go off to visit the family and different friends in town, and they'd go, "Where's Kurt?" Well, he's on the tractor back in the field taking care of his plot.
The family also ran a hardware store in town with a television repair shop. A curious young Kurt would hang out there to see how things got fixed. When the hired repairman quit one day, Junior stepped up to save the shop from closing.
The funny part was I had a couple of teachers that would come to the store and pick me up in their car, and I'd bring my tube caddies, because back then all their televisions had tubes, and they'd take me to their house, and then I would fix their television and they would bring me back, and then I'd get to send them a bill to my teachers. So I couldn't drive because I was too young, but I could fix televisions.
No one in the Brown family or their circle of friends was a pilot.
Out of the clear blue of the western sky.
But Kurt was fascinated watching TV shows and reading books about flying.
I remember sitting in the back of the family car going down the highway and imagining if I had a little wings I could fly and pull back on the stick and go up over the power lines and back down.
His first ever plane ride came as a student pilot at the age of 17. Just 4 lessons later, he was cleared to give it a go on his own.
It's a wonder that I'm alive because I knew nothing about flying other than I could fly the Cessna 150, and they still loaded me out, and I went and did my first flight.
Brown was an exceptional student, graduating 3rd in his high school class. His dream was to attend college and later become a fighter pilot. A family friend suggested he try getting into the Air Force Academy. He didn't know what that was, so he looked it up in an encyclopedia and figured any place where they shaved your head and made you march around in a uniform was not for him.
So it frightened me a lot. I didn't think I would be able to make it through there.
But the lure of getting pilot training on the government's dime was too enticing, so he applied and was accepted. His first semester did not go well.
I got my report card, so to speak, and I was on academic probation, and it really scared me to death because I couldn't imagine going home from the academy after all the folks at home had helped me get into the academy, supported me, that I would go home because I had not had the grades to stay into the academy.
He went home on Christmas break, talked things over with family, friends, and former teachers, and returned to the academy with a new plan.
I needed to study. I never studied before, and now I really needed to work hard and study.
Brown's academics soared after that, and so did his flying skills. Being a fighter pilot was no longer a dream, it had become a reality. His first assignment was at Myrtle Beach Air Force Base in South Carolina, not far from his hometown. There's a military operations area close to his parents' house where he'd practice high-speed maneuvers less than 500 feet above ground. On occasion, he made sure Mom and Dad knew he was in the neighborhood.
And I used to go by the house back before they made rules and help dust off the leaves from the house. So my dad loved it.
It didn't take long for his piloting prowess to land him a spot at Fighter Weapons School, the Air Force's version of Top Gun.
I guess it kind of became a drug for me. The better I do, the better I do. And so I kept trying to do better and better.
That mindset led to his next big opportunity, becoming an elite test pilot.
That was probably the toughest school I've ever been through.
It's one small step for man.
In 1969, when Neil Armstrong took his historic first step onto the moon, a then 13-year-old Kurt Brown watched the live TV broadcast with his dad. There was no way to record video at homes back then, so they snapped pictures of the screen with a Polaroid camera. He still has them.
I had no idea ever that I would be part of that program.
Becoming an astronaut had not been on his radar, but after achieving test pilot status, it was the next logical step.
Well, when I got picked by NASA to be an astronaut, I actually wanted to go to Mars. I honestly, in my naive world, thought maybe we had a chance to go to Mars or at least go back to the moon.
Brown was part of the first astronaut class selected by NASA after the Space Shuttle Challenger explosion.
Houston Discovery, roll program.
Roger, roll, Discovery.
He flew 6 missions, spending more than 57 days in space, traveling some 25 million miles around the Earth. He never got tired of the view.
You look out there and you go, holy moly, how far does that go and how big is the universe? A camera can't do it justice. A movie can't do it justice. You have to see it with your own eyeballs.
Roger, the clock is operating. We're underway.
In 1962, John Glenn made history as the first American to orbit the Earth. In 1998, at the age of 77, he was back, ready to become the oldest astronaut ever to go into space. NASA picked Kurt Brown to be commander of that high-profile shuttle mission. By then, Brown had built a stellar reputation for his work ethic.
You know, again, it goes back to my little rules that I live by, and one of them is, you know, if anything's worth doing, it's worth overdoing. And my second rule is if you're not having fun, you're doing something wrong.
After nearly 14 years with NASA, Brown moved on to be an airline pilot for American and then Sun Country. Minnesota's been his home flight base for a couple of decades. Nowadays, you can find him in the cockpit of some rare vintage aircraft, making the rounds to air shows or doing flyovers for special events. And when he's not flying, he's probably motivated.
If you get to go to Mars, you have to take me with you, okay?
Telling young people about his journey and encouraging them that no matter where you come from, big city or small town, to follow your dreams. You never know where they may take you.
If I can take one young person so that they will go and be driven towards their passion to do something. I don't care if it's in aviation or whether it's in science or technology, but go change their life from not wanting to do anything, but to be passionate about something and go be successful, then I've done everything I can need to do in life.